On today's episode, we've got a recap of SmackDown, including some really cool Fiend and Bryan stuff, plus Otis hilarity. Corey Graves shoots on WWE booking again, and an injured champion made their return at a house show.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk News. I am Chopper Pete Quinnell. First things first, let's dive into a recap of last night's WWE SmackDown in about 5 minutes. The show kicks straight off with boom! It's Mayor Kane. He came out and says the Royal Rumble is his favorite show of the year. Me too, Kane. But before he can eviscerate any more of his competition, he's interrupted by a Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt says that he should apologize to everyone he's eliminated from a Royal Rumble and says that winning the Rumble might not be the best idea if they're gonna challenge him at WrestleMania. But then he notices Kane's picture on the wall behind him, and that must mean that the Fiend and Kane got it on. Not in that way. Steady on. Of course, Bray Wyatt will never forgive Kane, and neither will the Fiend. The Fiend comes out from under the ring while Kane stands outside. A nice little touch here as the Fiend is creepily crawling towards Kane, and Kane just turns around nonplussed and just says, "What took you so long?" It was all a ruse. Daniel Bryan hits a running knee on the Fiend from out of nowhere, and the Fiend is forced to flee back under the ring, but not before Bryan pulls out a couple of the Fiend's dreadlocks in the process. This was a nice way to give Bryan an upper hand, continuing storyline continuity with Bray Wyatt and Kane's history, as well as Team Hell No, and possibly furthers a feud between the Fiend and Kane at the next Saudi Arabia show, as it's been rumored. Backstage, after an ad break, Daniel Bryan challenges the Fiend to a strap match at the Royal Rumble, where the Fiend can't run away. It's a pretty corny gimmick match, but I have faith in Bryan and Wyatt to make it work. I'm still very excited for this match. Up next, it's time for the in-ring return of John Morrison, where he took on Big E. Morrison has some cool new offense and flips and stuff, and with some distraction, he picked up the win with the Starship Pain. But let's talk about the most important thing here. Kofi Kingston is blonde now! I know, it's crazy. Maybe it's like an Okada thing where he dyed his hair after he lost the championship and Kingston is going crazy, and then Big E will turn on him and turn heel, and then Kingston will find himself again and win the WWE Championship again. Or maybe he just liked being blonde. Maybe that. The Usos faced off against the Revival next in what was a fairly one-sided match, in which the Usos won in fairly quick fashion. Nothing super flashy about this one, just some good stuff from two good teams. The Revival are backstage saying they need to make a change next, before they're interrupted by Bayley, Lacey Evans, and Sasha Banks brawling. How rude of them. With Sasha Banks injured on the floor. This sets up Lacey Evans versus Bayley when it should have been Sasha, as she can't compete tonight. Next up, Sonya Deville is backstage speaking to Mandy, asking her if she could ask Otis to be ringside for her match against Alexa Bliss tonight. She finally gets why she's being nice to him. This is a wonderful story, with Sonya thinking Mandy is manipulating Otis in order to help her get more wins, like last week, when really, Mandy just likes him because he's a sweetheart. I love it. It was Bayley versus Lacey Evans next, in what was a pretty long match going through an ad break, but it was pretty smooth with nothing overly flashy, and the finish came when Lacey hit the women's right from out of nowhere for the win. This finally sets up Lacey versus Bayley at the Royal Rumble for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Shorty G is backstage talking about how Sheamus is projecting his insecurities, before Sheamus comes in and does some short jokes, which are really, really bad. Not his fault, it's whoever wrote it, but really bad still. Before Shorty G takes him down and walks off, and Sheamus gets really mad. Shorty G versus Sheamus at the Royal Rumble is confirmed. I hope it goes about 10 seconds and Sheamus kicks his head off. I like Shorty G, but Sheamus has just come back and needs some momentum. Braun Strowman says to Kayla Braxton that he wants an Intercontinental Championship match before Elias is in the ring, about to sing a song, when he gets interrupted by Sami Zayn, Nakamura, and Cesaro. Zayn refuses Strowman's request for a title match and reminds everyone that Nakamura has actually won the Rumble before. Oh yeah, that did happen. 2017 was fun. The trio beat down Elias, and Braun makes the save. This title match is absolutely happening at the Rumble. Up next was a video package remembering Soul Man Rocky Johnson, which was lovely, before it was time for Sonya Deville versus Alexa Bliss, with Mandy Rose and Heavy Machinery ringside for Sonya. At one point in the match, Mandy attempts to get involved, but Nikki pushes her off the turnbuckle. But fear not! Otis is here, and he catches Mandy. His facial expressions are literally the greatest thing ever. During this distraction though, Alexa rolls up Sonya for the win. That dastardly face? Finally, it's time for the main event, which is Roman Reigns versus Robert Roode in a tables match, with the winner being able to pick the stipulation for Reigns versus Corbin at the Royal Rumble. This was exactly what you'd expect from this match, with Reigns dominating before Corbin and Ziggler get involved, with the Usos evening the odds. The Usos delivered a double splash to Ziggler through the announce table before Reigns speared Roode through a table set up in the corner for the win. Reigns then picked a Falls Count Anywhere match for his match with Corbin at the Rumble, which is fine, but it does really mean it's going to be a 3-on-3 match with their respective cronies, rather than something like a cage match which would keep out Roode and Ziggler. Nice one, Roman. So that was the show, and honestly, it was pretty good. Nothing on this show was bad, and the high points were pretty high. The Fiend and Bryan continued to be awesome, Morrison looked great in his in-ring return, the Otis and Mandy story escalates every week and made me actually laugh out loud, and there was nothing actually bad on the show that was damaging. This SmackDown gets a Smacktastic. And now, as always, hot tag to me for the news. Before we get into the news, a massive thank you to Adam and the Anthony Bergeron for being an awesome pledge hammer on Patreon. When it was announced that SmackDown commentator Corey Graves would be getting his own WWE-endorsed podcast called After the Bell, I think most people would have assumed that it would simply be Graves getting all gooey about how brilliant WWE is and how wonderful everything that Vince McMahon thinks of is and always will be. However, that hasn't been the case, as Graves has been pretty straight with a lot of his opinions in the past few weeks. And while none of them have been all that controversial, he saves that for Twitter, he hasn't always been positive. His comments will of course be greenlit by WWE, and if he does say anything naughty, it'll just be edited out. On the latest episode of the podcast, though, Graves took a bit of time to lay into WWE's booking strategy of having #1 contenders defeat champions ahead of championship matches. The example he used was Braun Strowman pinning Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown. Corey said, "I'm really over the potential contender beating the champion prior to the championship match. I feel like it happens all the time, because it does. It happened again on Friday, Braun Strowman beating the Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Not only because I'm a massive Nakamura fan and I want to watch everything he, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn do, I think there's so much money in that trio, I love it, everything about them. Sami is so obnoxious you just want to punch him in the face, which is what a good bad guy does, and I love Braun Strowman. He's been a man without a country and seems to have direction now and is moving towards the Intercontinental Championship, which I am very okay with. I just want to wait until the championship match to see the contender beat the champion. It makes it feel less than. It's not a bad thing, I just want a different thing. I feel like we see it all the time. I miss wanting to know, is there any way the champion is going to lose to this guy who's on fire? Can he finally knock off the champion? I miss that chase and anticipation. Unfortunately for Corey, it appears his issues with this booking will continue, because SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley was pinned clean by #1 contender Lacey Evans on last night's SmackDown, with Graves on commentary. Take that, Corey. Serves you right for having an opinion. For what it's worth, it's been said enough at WrestleTalk, but I agree with him, as do many others here. Some of the best chases for the title in history always have an absence of the challenger pinning the champion beforehand. Just do it better, WWE. If you cast your mind all the way back to WWE TLC on December 15th, you'll remember that the main event between women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors, and Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair was a bit of a disaster. It was obvious to those watching that quite early on in the match, Kairi Sane had suffered some kind of injury, which had left her unable to work anywhere near her maximum level. This was made even more uncomfortable to watch when Charlotte, seemingly frustrated with how sloppy the match had become, hit Kairi with a powerbomb through a table, despite Kairi being in obvious discomfort. A video was shared after the match of Becky Lynch literally rolling Kairi under the ring near the end of the match to make sure she didn't take any further punishment, because it became clear that she was struggling to hit even basic punches and kicks. Various sources reported that Kairi had suffered a head injury early on in the match, which possibly happened when Charlotte suplexed her into a barricade, which caused her to fall onto a piece of exposed concrete head first. Due to WWE's increasing awareness of the severity of head injuries, Kairi hasn't wrestled since, and has only briefly appeared backstage or on the ramp ahead of Asuka matches before going backstage to make sure she was at no risk of aggravating any injuries. Thankfully, we can now bring you the happy news that Kairi returned to the ring at a WWE house show in Lafayette. She tweeted an Instagram-worthy picture of herself at the show last night, and everyone, including Randy Datson's best friend Lance Storm, was delighted to see her back. Lance replied, "Yay! Wrestling is better with you in it. Yay indeed. Her return comes at a good time, as we have the Royal Rumble next week, a match Kairi happens to be one of the favorites to win, and she will likely be in Asuka's corner for her Raw Women's title match at the Rumble as well. There have been reports that Kairi Sane isn't too happy in WWE at the moment, and according to Dave Meltzer, she's weighing up potential options, ranging from a switch to AEW or a move back to her native Japan to rejoin Stardom where she made her name. If she does decide to move, it'll be a huge loss for WWE, but given the majority of her main roster booking, it would be hard to blame her. Have the Fiend plans heading into WrestleMania been leaked? Press the video to the right to find out more, and press the video below that to find out more about a retired WWE star returning to action. A special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom you see scrolling below me right now. I've been Chopper Pete Quinnell, and that was wrestling.